over 500. Christy, McGrady, Carter, Davis, and Charles Oakley. Let's send it over to Craig Sager.
A team photo for the playoff guide in a 10-minute meeting yesterday turned into a 3-hour filibuster for Toronto. Todd Christie said they had stars, but they're bathing in mediocrity. Vince Carter said after winning 11 out of 12, they started believing the hype. Muggsy Bogues said they don't play with any enthusiasm on defense. Kevin Willis said there's no structure to the rotations. He needs 10 to 12 shots a game. But it was Charles Oakley who said, it's like we all got a shiny new car, we were showing it off, and I got banged up, and it's in the shop. He said, guess what, guys? We can be like Jed Clampett, pack it up, or we can be like the Jeffersons and move on up. He then started singing the theme song, moving on up to the East Side, the East Conference. It broke the ice, and it could be the defining moment for Toronto. Kevin?
Nice, Craig. Thank you. Leitner right off the bat hits one off the block, and it's 2-0 Detroit.
Well, that's a good sign because Christian Leitner is a very good offensive player, and he's really been a little bit more content this year with making plays as opposed to using his offense.
And here comes Lindsey Hunter the other way. A steal, and Leitner slams it in.
Well, and that's Detroit's defense. Lindsey Hunter is a very good defensive player, and he's going to give Christian all the problems he can have.
Big backcourt for the Raptors, and here's McGrady dueling with Mills. Out of bounds with 16 seconds to play. Defense, as George Irvin, the coach of the Pistons, was telling us today, is the thing that will make this team tick.
Well, and that was an example of it because Christie is so tall, but yet Hunter is down there quick and a very good ball defender.
Now Detroit has won 5 of their last 6 on the road. And they had a West Coast road swing a couple of weeks ago where they went 4-1. And across the lane, Stackhouse finds 2.
Well, and it's too easy early in the game. Hopefully, it's a question of them getting warm because the Raptors have to play better defense than this.
So a quick 6-0 lead for the Detroit Pistons. Carter works on Hill for 3. Vince Carter, who is the 3rd leading scorer in the NBA.
Well, it's always a good sign when you see him hitting the jumper. I think he's having a lot harder time getting those dunks because those players are getting a little sick of being in that highlight film on the wrong side of it.
He's certainly taken punishment. Here's Terry Mills, a Michigan native, picked up by Doug Christie, who's from Seattle, and he comes the other way, and John playing point at 6'6".
Well, he's playing point at 6'6", but I think Hunter's going to force him to pass the ball a lot more because Hunter's very good as he just did defensively.
Another steal, sliding in for 2, and the Detroit Pistons on top by a count of 8-3.
Well, Vince Carter indicated the fact that the point position was the thing that he had a concern about, and I think that that's a perfect example of it when you get somebody like this. Oh, they're just actually just taking the basketball from him.
2-on-1, Stackhouse and Hill with Oakley in the middle and the ball knocked away.
Question, you wouldn't know it because so much is made out of Allen Iverson and Shaq being 1 and 2.
Here's Vince Carter. Off to Christie and inside to former Indiana Pacer Antonio Davis, who was whacked hard and fouled inside by Jerry Stackhouse, the former Tar Heel from North Carolina.
Well, in that possession, I was really surprised Kevin Mills is even really into this Detroit defensive thing. He was fighting Davis very hard that time, trying to hold his position on the inside.
Vince Carter will inbound. Carter taking the place of Olympian Tom Gugliotta. This summer in Sydney, Gugliotta blowing a knee a couple weeks ago. Here's Davis again, spinning on Mills, leaning inside for 2.
Well, that's good. And I'd like to see the Raptors, particularly McGrady and Carter, penetrate a lot more rather than stand outside and throw up those jump shots.
And look at Hunter. Knife is his way right through the Toronto defense on that drive.
Well, and looking at this, you know, Davis does a good job. He faces his man, and then he attacks the basket and puts pressure on the defense. Anytime somebody's putting as much pressure on the ball as Detroit is, you have to do a lot more penetrating than trying to shoot over top of these guys.
But they did, and the rest is history.
Well, that wasn't a bad decision because he really can shoot the ball. And if he's adapting, as they say, to the point guard position, he's really going to be dangerous.
And Hill missing the shot. And here comes Tracy McGrady, a free agent to be for the Toronto Raptors. Christie to Oakley, who played 10 years in New York, and a whistle away from the ball, down low, and Leitner is guilty, covering Antonio Davis. Leitner picks up his first of the game. Leitner now playing a lot more 4 and 5.
Well, he is, but, you know, also I think he sacrificed a lot of his offense to get out there, rebound, and play defense. and do a lot of big man kind of things for this team, because that's one of the weaknesses of this Pistons team. They need to have a presence in the middle.
Muggsy Bogues is checked in, the shortest man in the history of the NBA at 5'3" in the game. At the point, they hem in Carter. Out to McGrady, cross court to Oakley, who puts up a 2 and misses, in the rebound by Christian Leighton.
Well, Kevin, and I think Hunter's pressure on the ball forced the substitution to put Muggsy in the ball game.
Good point. Mills finds Grant Hill working on Carter. We talked about this matchup before. The rebound by Davis. And Toronto down by 5 the other way, with Bogues weaving through traffic out to Charles Oakley.
Well, and that was good. That was good defense at the other end. It's interesting, just the short period of time that Muggsy has been in the game, he's created a fast break. He's taken a lot of the pressure off of the defense that Detroit has put on them.
Here's Stackhouse, the all-star for the first time, missing, and a whistle and a foul. And Leitner picks up his second foul. He has collected 3 rebounds. He was talking about the importance of Leitner, who came to this team injury-prone a year ago from Atlanta.
Well, and he's become a lot more physical in his game. You know, the old Christian Leitner was a finesse player, a guy who took a lot of shots outside. Now he's content to make the play, but he's made himself more of a physical presence inside because of the need of this team.
So Jerome Williams will take his place, a kid, John, who played for you at Georgetown his last 2 years, and Carter on the outside.
Well, rebound. Jerome is doing an excellent job of just getting rebounds.
What a move by Vince Carter.
That's what I'm talking about, Kevin. They've got to go to the basket and penetrate more and put a lot more pressure on this defense.
Nice running jump shot, but just missing is Hill, who thought he was wrestled with down low. Here comes McGrady the other way. 1-on-1 with Stackhouse, flipping it to Carter for 3. Rebound tapped by Davis, kept alive by Bogues.
Let's see, and you're going back to that outside 3 shooting. You still want a little bit more penetration, particularly by McGrady because of his ball handling ability.
And McGrady knocks down a 3, but what about the hard work inside of rebounder Antonio Davis?
Well, and he worked. He has to work for this team inside, because both of these teams leave something to be desired as far as the great big center that you have inside.
Toronto is on a 7-0 run. Stackhouse and the Pistons led earlier 6-0. Stackhouse with a drive across the lane, rebound by Oakley. And here comes Bogues, ripping it to Carter, no look inside, and brought down hard with a great play is Tracy McGrady.
Well, you attribute that again to Muggsy for stepping up the tempo and getting down quickly and not allowing Detroit to put the kind of pressure they have been putting on them.
Here's Tracy McGrady at the free throw line, a guy who brought up Isaiah Thomas before. This was one of Isaiah Thomas's first draft picks with the Toronto Raptors.
No, but Butch Carter's done a heck of a job with him, bringing him along, even providing him with a counselor and trying to help him to develop psychologically as well as physically. And he's now one of the main factors on this team.
Here's Jerome Williams, a high school point guard, now an NBA center and power forward. Rebound McGrady. Detroit back on defense as McGrady finds Bogues, who's open for 2. And over the backboard, but corralled by Williams. Now they say it is over the backboard and out of bounds. The Toronto Raptors with Vince Carter on a 10-0 run. Carter's got 5 and the Raptors on top 15-10. NBA hierarchy, we were surprised to see that he was ranked so high in NBA scoring, and John, one of the top players in the league, and you can see the comparative numbers right there. You know, when Carter now has to wear that on his shoulder, a lot of attention has been thrust onto Vince Carter.
Well, it definitely has, and I think Grant Hill is absolutely correct in saying that I'm glad it's you and not me, because Grant is having a great season, and it's not as much noticed because all this comparison with Michael Jordan stuff is out of people's minds with it.
Missed by Grant Hill, who has hired his own shooting coach this year. Hill so far, though, not showing the effects of that tutoring. He is 0 for 4. And here is Carter. Draws the quick double, thus Oakley is free. And they've watched Oakley take a lot of long-range shots already in this game.
Well, it's not a bad shot for Oakley because basically he is a set shooter. But I'd rather see Carter and I'd rather see McGrady penetrate on that team. And then if that's not there, then look for the outside shot.
Bogues picks up the foul. Neither team has made a substitution aside from Bogues coming in at the point. They've sometimes used D. Brown back there, but the smaller Bogues could have more success as Mills finds Stackhouse, who works on McGrady and takes him across the lane. Rejected by McGrady, number 11 in the NBA in block shots. 3-on-2, Bogues to Carter for three.
Well, that was a great shot. I think, and again, I think Muggsy Bogues is having a tremendous effect on this game. Particularly the attitude of the Raptors has changed, and the pace definitely is changing, getting it out and getting it down.
A 13-0 run by the Toronto Raptors.
Well, and looking at this, Tracy McGrady, even though he plays the perimeter, is one of the best shot blockers on this team. You know, he does a good job of just not going for the first fake, letting Stackhouse commit, and then going up and blocking the shot.
Pistons just committed their first turnover as McGrady works on Stackhouse, and Hill picks up Carter. Goes behind his back, and Oakley, the Cleveland, Ohio native, tries to get it and slides out of bounds. The fourth Toronto turnover so far for Coach Butch Carter.
Well, and Oak is still not afraid to dive for it. I didn't think that was a good pass. You're throwing a blind pass to Oakley. He didn't expect it, but he dove on the floor to try to make up for it.
Terry Mills, up high, played for Miami the last couple years, but was injury prone most of the time. Jerome Williams pump faking inside, and the deceptive move buys him two.
Well, and Jerome does a great job of backing up players that are supposed to be stars. He gets rebounds, he plays defense, he does a lot of the dirty work, and then when you forget about him, he'll actually kill you.
That's Detroit's first field goal in about 4 minutes as McGrady's on the perimeter. And inside is Davis, quickly doubled to Oakley, swings it over to Carter for three. Rebound by Mills.
And then again, Kevin, you know what I mean? Still, I want to see penetration. Penetrate. Get ball movement and penetrate.
Hill outside. And the rebound by Antonio Davis. Carter the other way. Look for Carter. Flies inside. Rocked by Mills. And Carter goes down hard, ramming his way into that photographer right there. A little early playoff contact.
Well, I think so. You know, the playoffs are coming. As I said at the top of the show, players are getting a little bit upset with being the backside of that highlight film. I don't want to be dunked on anymore. These guys are a lot more intense. I guess that's one of the reasons why there's not as much driving. But when you drive, you will get a second opportunity by going to the foul line, particularly guys like Carter and Tracy McGrady, who are capable of going to the basket.
Crazy thing is, he almost made it. The Daytona, Florida native, as you can see, the scoring leaders with Hill and Carter right there side by side in slots 3 and 4. And Vince Carter, who is playing with a bad right shoulder. He hurt it the other day bumping into Rick Smits. And after the game could not even raise his arm above his shoulder, but he's taking the treatment and playing and starting tonight.
Well, it's interesting, again, the effect that Muggsy Bogues is having on this game. Jerome Williams had to bring that ball up the floor that time. Now they're trying to post him, but he's really causing a problem for this team.
Here's Stackhouse driving into a trio of Raptor defenders, and a whistle and a foul blown inside. And is racked on the play by Grant Hill, who has struggled himself.
Well, and looking at this, Stackhouse goes by Oakley, but the help comes from the weak side, which it is good. You know, they come over to try to give some help to him, but Stackhouse did a good thing also. I think he and Hill are also capable of penetrating. When you look at the Raptors, they don't really have a shot blocker, but McGrady, and he plays outside. So if I were Detroit, I'd look to penetrate Kevin against this team also.
Davis picks up the foul. Mikey Moore has checked in for the Detroit Pistons, and Kevin Willis has come in for the Toronto Raptors, joining McGrady, Bogues, Carter, and Oakley. And Stackhouse hits another free throw for the Detroit Pistons.
Jerome Williams started to go over to trap Muggsy and gave up on him. Muggsy will just duck down and go through it.
Pistons from the line have gone 3 of 5. To McGrady with the great pass on the wing from Charles Oakley.
Well, the only way that's going to be stopped is put more pressure on the passer so that he can't make the pass, because you're not going to defend that on the guy who's shooting the ball.
Carter and McGrady have accounted for 18 of Toronto's 22 points. A miss right there by Stackhouse. And here comes the 5-3 Bogues. The other way, spent most of his career with Charlotte, and Kevin Willis inside. Rebound by Stackhouse. Detroit with numbers. Flying inside. He goes right into the teeth of the defense of Vince Carter. And Carter draws his first foul.
Well, in looking at this, you see Oakley, he made eye contact with McGrady. McGrady set it up with a great reversal, and Oakley threw a good pass. The only way you can possibly stop that is to pressure Oakley and not permit him to throw that kind of pass.
Stackhouse at the free throw line, and John, here is a player, as much as they hated to see the retirement of current Piston Vice President Joe Dumars, it certainly opened things up a little bit for Stackhouse.
Well, it did, and certainly you'd love to have Dumars here also, particularly the Dumars that you and I knew. But in the same token, Stackhouse has answered that challenge and come up and started to play well. This ball game is really becoming an up and down the floor ball game, particularly since Bogues got in the game. Both of these teams are going up and down the floor at a pretty quick pace.
Del Curry is in for the first time for Toronto, a great three-point shooter. Carter with the miss. Rebound is inhaled by Williams of Detroit. A foul called on Carter, who was watching Hunter zip the other way, and Vince Carter picks up number 2.
Well, he does, and you look at him, Muggsy Bogues out there now. He looks like he's a little tired because he's having an effect defensively and offensively on the team out there.
Look, he's had an effect on the team. Michael Curry is checked in for Detroit. Lindsey Hunter, Bogues has been defending, is at the free throw line for the Detroit Pistons.
Well, and isn't it amazing the smallest guy on the court had such an impact on the tempo of this game, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, he started to apply pressure. Hunter was driving him crazy with his pressure, and now Muggsy is able to just duck down and go through everybody.
Doug Christie is in for the Raptors with Willis, Curry, Oakley, and Bogues. Carter is on the bench, and McGrady is on the bench for Toronto. That's been the thrust of their scoring so far in this first quarter. Bogues down the lane, over Mikey Moore, can't get it. With a whistle inside, a foul called on Toronto. Well, he went over the backboard. And a timeout taken.
CNN Sports Illustrated, the sports network more people are switching to. Call your cable or satellite provider.
It came from nowhere, baptized today on the hot sands of Daytona, where a mile measures the length of your nerve. They call these giants 300.
4 decades later, their fuel-injected descendant has arrived.
She's got some real fire in her belly.
Chrysler 300M, the most powerful sports sedan in its class.
Well, I reckon a fella can get used to winning in this car.
Chrysler 300M, car and driver's 10 best 2 years running.
He is the sexiest, suavest, most stylish, and sophisticated secret agent.
I put the gar in swinger, baby.
He's Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Go in for the Shagadelic World Television premiere.
Get jiggy with it.
With footage too cool to be seen in theaters.
It's amazing, Austin.
Mike Myers, Heather Graham, Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me. In demand, you rule.
In the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia had won 7 straight. Now they've lost 3. And that breath they're feeling, that team charging from behind the Charlotte Hornets in just a half game, separates these 2 teams in the Eastern Conference race. Glance down to number 8. Look at Orlando. That team is thriving right now. A homestand orchestrated by Doc Rivers and Bo Outlaw and Darryl Armstrong has turned Orlando into a playoff team. And if the playoffs started tonight, this is what you would see. This Toronto team would play the Knicks and Detroit would play Miami. Playoffs begin in mid-April right here on TNT and TBS. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Craig Sager from the Air Canada Center. Here in Toronto is Michael Curry. In his second stint in his career with the Detroit Pistons, tries to rumble inside, and Del Curry Makes the foul.
That almost looked a little bit like that warm-up drill they had.
The players got in a football stance and tried to block the players from coming out after they were being introduced. And some early numbers in this game as you take a look at one of the great success stories in the NBA, Michael Curry, undrafted out of tiny Georgia Southern. He's played in Germany, Belgium, France, the USBL, the CBA, Italy, Spain, 5 NBA teams, John, over 7 years. And now he signs a 5-year contract with Detroit during the offseason. And it's the longest of his career. Grant Hill personally wanted this guy on this team.
Well, that's the kind of guy you don't want guarding you, because if he's been all those places, you know, doggone well he doesn't want to go back.
Too many bus trips. Here goes Christie working on Curry, and a whistle and a foul. John Crotty has now come in. The foul. Jerome Williams will be at the free throw line. You can see the shooting this quarter. And George Irvin, who we talked about before, taking over in early March for Alvin Gentry, who, by the way, is now coaching the Harlem Globetrotters. Irvin, who has been a head coach in his past, and he played in the ABA, and with Virginia at one time in his great ABA career. His teammates included George Iceman Gervin and Dr. J. Not bad. And he played opposite Dr. J on that front line.
Did he get any shot?
No, he didn't say
on that team. He had to learn how to pass too, didn't he?
So for the announcer, it was George Irvin and George Gervin. That had to be tough. Tough. You're too fast to say it. And a missed shot, and a whistle, and a foul blown inside. And that goes on Hill, who picks up his second. Raptors come in. John struggling, losing 7 of 8. Detroit has played well on the road, winning 5 of their last 6.
Well, and you've seen an up-tempo game. One of the things I was really impressed with is how quickly Detroit came out, you know, pressuring and playing good defense. The Raptors answered by putting Muggsy Bogues in, and they created the tempo of their game. George Irvin mentioned to us that he wants this team to run on made and missed baskets and really get up and down the floor. So we've really seen a high-tempo game going up and down the floor.
Michael Curry comes in for Williams. Chet Bushler comes in for Grant Hill, joining Moore, Curry, and Stackhouse for the Detroit Pistons.
Well, at this pace, you're going to see a whole lot of substitutions in this game.
10 seconds to play in the half. Nice move by McGrady, working on Bushler. Rebound by Moore. Out to Hunter. Second sticking out. Bushler for 3 at the buzzer. Good! Knocking it down with .2 on the second quarter clock is Christie. The length of the floor picked up by Moore. And Bushler, who's been playing great for the Detroit Pistons, puts it in right before the buzzer sounds.
Boy, McGrady made a great move to the basket, Kevin, but he got so discouraged because the referee didn't call it, he didn't go back. But that was the thing that he needs to do with his athleticism, go to the basket.
8 employees. I have an 8-member management committee. I also have 3 5-year-old sons. I don't need someone else raising questions. I need someone who can give me answers.
At Lincoln Financial Group, you tell us your goals, your situation, and your concerns. We'll provide clear, understandable solutions to help you manage your finances. Lincoln Financial Group, clear solutions in a complex world.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other use of dissemination of this telecast, or the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Welcome back to the glistening brand new Air Canada Centre here in Toronto, Ontario. Well, we've seen outstanding combinations of scoring. Hill and Stackhouse for 34 points. Carter and McGrady for Toronto with 31. And moments ago, Craig Sager caught up with Raptor head coach Butch Carter.
Detroit went to the free throw line 23 times. You went 7. Why the discrepancy?
Well, they got out on transition, and Grant and wiggled around in there and got bumped around. They also did a real good job of offensive rebounding, so we got to get that stopped. Got to get them slowed down, especially when they bring the ball up the left side of the floor.
You haven't won at home since March 19th. You're now down by 8. How important is this second half?
Like any other second half, we need a win, period. We make a difference if you're on the road or at home, you know. So I think that we're in a real good position. I think they understand what they have to do. If we get the free throw discrepancy turned around in our favor, I think we'll be okay.
All right, thanks a lot. Let's go back to Kevin and Coach.
Thank you, Craig. Sometimes, John, overlooked because of the greatness of Vince Carter is just how much this franchise in Toronto has brought themselves from a 16-win season 2 years ago to now a 40-win season this year.
Well, absolutely, and they can't get spooked out by it, Kevin. Early in the year, the expectations were so high. Everybody's talking about they may catch up with Miami, they may catch up with New York. Now they're trying to fight to be in a playoff position. Carter's exciting. Everybody talks about Carter. This team has accomplished a lot, and mentally they've got to be smart enough to realize that they've just got to get in focus, get on track, and get out and start playing basketball.
And let's shift gears here just a second. You came to me moments ago and said, I'm so impressed with what I see in Detroit's defense tonight.
Well, I think George has done a heck of a job of getting these guys to play with some intensity. I couldn't believe how they came out in the beginning, set a tone. And if you want to get out and run, as Butch Carter said, he starts with defense. And I think that if you look at what the Pistons have done, they're pressuring everything. Lindsey Hunter took about 3 balls in the beginning of the ball game. He even forced a substitute. They had to put Muggsy Bogues in the game because Detroit's defense was so much of pressure.
And Grant Hill has been spectacular for the Detroit Pistons. As you can see, 19 points, most of which were picked up in the second quarter. And then Vince Carter with his 13 for the game. But in foul trouble is Carter with a couple early in the game, curtailed his minutes. And he also was slapped with the technical. So that is the backdrop, which takes us to the second half. An important game in the playoff race, as all the remaining 8 after tonight will be for these two teams. Toronto is number 7, make it number 6 in the race, and Detroit is number 7 with Orlando at number 8. Orlando is playing tonight against San Antonio with a miss right there from Antonio Davis, and here comes Hunter and the first second half offensive possession for the Pistons.
Well, you know, and Davis hasn't been as visible as you'd like for him to have been. I think a lot of that has to do with the outside shots that the Raptors are taking. If they want to get fouled, they have to go to the basket a little bit more than they're doing. He's fading on his shot. Most of the shots that Carter and McGrady have been taking have been deep outside shots.
Here's Christie playing with a bad ankle. And his shooting has gone down over the last 8 or 9 games. Antonio Davis knocks it in from Texas El Paso.
Well, that's a good shot, but if you want to be fouled, you still, again, have to go to the basket, and you have to put pressure on the defense.
Christian Laettner searching for Hill. Opts to go to Hunter, who's picked up on the mismatch with Davis. That means Christie's on Mills. Mills, a specialty player, and is called for a travel. That is a turnover. And for the Pistons, number 6 of the game.
Well, I think Christie did a very good job of guarding him. I mean, they had a mismatch inside. You had Christie guarding Mills, but Christie is very active and a very good defensive player. A lot of times when a smaller man is guarding a big man in post, he gives him more trouble because he's so active.
And the ball knocked away with 12 seconds to shoot. Here's a good look at Doug Christie from Seattle, and went to the Lakers, to the New York Knicks, and now here in Toronto, where he is in the very short time he's been here, the all-time leading Raptors scorer, surpassing Damon Stoudemire back in January. And there's a foul, and Terry Mills will pick it up. That's how the scoring is gone. His name is familiar. Hill and Stackhouse, by the way, in the NBA, the number 2 scoring tandem of any team in the league behind Kobe Bryant and Shaq out in Los Angeles.
Well, and the basic difference is that Hill and Stackhouse have been penetrating to the basket as opposed to taking outside shots, and as a result of it, Detroit has shot more free throws.
Pistons on top, 58-52. Stackhouse tried to force it inside. It ricochets into the hands of Hill, who is their best ball handler. Stackhouse maneuvering inside and foul.
Well, that's how you, I mean, Butch Carter mentioned when he was talking to Craig Sager about the fouls and getting himself in a situation where you get fouled. Well, if you want to be fouled, this is what you have to do. Exactly what Stackhouse is doing. He's going to the basket. He's creating contact. And if he doesn't get the shot, he'll get himself an opportunity to shoot free throws. Some of the Raptors have to wiggle their way through, as Butch Carter said that Detroit was doing, Kevin.
Well, we heard Craig Sager moments ago talk with Butch Carter, and Craig points out that they've now taken 25 free throw attempts to the Raptors, 7 free throw attempts tonight.
Well, but that's because of penetration. I mean, if you go to the basket, you're going to put yourself in a better position of being fouled. Or if you throw the ball inside, if you cut to the basket.
Seems pretty simple.
Well, see what they're doing now. They're standing. It's not a lot of movement, you know, but they do get the ball into Davis, and Davis has been fading on his shot.
Charles Oakley had a game-winning three-point shot a couple nights ago against the Cleveland Cavaliers, fanning right there. Oakley has not had a good night shooting. Only 5 points. And 1 of 5 from the field. Stackhouse to Lindsey Hunter, who takes about as many three-point shots as anybody in the NBA, missing there.
Well, he earns them too right now, because from what I can see, he's a heck of a defensive player. You know, he gets out there and really works on defense.
Tracy McGrady with the rebound corralled by Leitner out to Grant Hill, who glides. And it looks like he's floating on air as he takes it in for 2 there.
Well, and he's going right through the defense. You know, you don't want to keep repeating yourself. One team is shooting jump shots on the outside, Kevin. The other team, it's just that simple. The other team is standing there penetrating.
Charles Oakley ups into Leitner. McGrady on the perimeter. Christie inside. Quickly double team. More of that Detroit defense.
Well,
Carter
exactly right.
open for 3 and nails it uncovered. He's not ready to sing the praises of Detroit's defense. Then Carter cans an open tray.
Well, and that's I mean, you're not going to be able to defend that because he shot a deep shot. You're absolutely correct. They were playing good defense. They're trapping everything that goes in, and they're stopping all penetration.
Stackhouse, Leitner with the screen. Hunter, nice ball rotation to him. Finally knocks one down. It's a 2 with about 8:10 to play here in the third quarter.
You know, the way Hunter shoots the ball, I like to see Hill playing the 1 position and Hunter playing the 2.
Lindsey Hunter has 6 points. Out of bounds, 13 seconds to shoot. Detroit goes home after tonight. Coach George Irvin, and at the Palace of Auburn Hills will take on Boston. The Celtics are reeling and almost mathematically out of the playoff race. They were right there a couple weeks ago. Now almost on. In fact, they are on life support. Christie with the miss. Rebound by Hill. Again, accelerates. And fouling. Johnny has not done anything outside. It's been all inside. And that time right at the defense of Tracy McGrady.
If it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's getting the ball penetrating to the basket on everything. And if he doesn't get the shot, he gets the free throw. And I think it's just a question, Kevin, of experience, because you have the same thing with McGrady and you have the same thing out there with Carter. They have the same kind of skills to be able to penetrate the same way Stackhouse and Hill penetrate. It's just a question of experience.
We heard moments ago from Atlanta where the people in Orlando were trying to reel in Tim Duncan with their signs and encouragement. Come to the Orlando Magic. What do you think Grant Hill is going to do with the Detroit Pistons? Stay or leave? He's a free agent after this season.
Well, I'll tell you, that's going to be hard to tell. I think a lot of it has to do with how both teams end up in the end of the year. You tend to want to stay with the team if things are going well for you.
Good point. Davis was pushed by Terry Mills inside. Mills won a championship in college basketball at the University of Michigan back in '89. Craig, what do you have?
Well, we're talking about the free throw discrepancy. This is the 4th time these teams have played this year. And in the 3 previous games, the Raptors have gone to the free throw line an average of 37 times. In fact, the last game they won, they went 46 times to the line. But tonight it's 27-7. Kevin?
That's interesting. McGrady hits it again. He's got 20. Craig makes a great point. The free throw differential in this game is staggering.
Well, it's almost as if the Pistons are saying, if you beat us, you're going to have to beat us from the outside. If we beat you, we're going to beat you by going inside.
Oakley gets it off to Christie, who plays the point. And here is Carter with the miss. Rebound by the industrious Charles Oakley.
I think the industrious Charles Oakley got away with a little shove that time.
He's collected
just a little bitty push.
He's collected 9 rebounds tonight. Davis twirling inside and trying to get that launched. Rebound again, inhaled by Grant Hill. He'll come galloping the other way, which has been his bread and butter. Great spin move by Grant Hill. Oh, what a play.
Inside once again, Kevin.
But that one had an acrobatic feel to it. With a shove and a Detroit foul, and they assess that foul at the 25 points of Grant Hill, as you can see right here. Foul is called on Detroit's Lindsey Hunter. It's all Pistons by 10.
I've always believed that there's strength in numbers. That's what teamwork's all about. Like here in downtown Oakland, Antoine Jameson and kids from the neighborhood came together to make a difference.
Thank you.
Now, these guys may not have created a masterpiece.
You gotta stay within the lines.
I am.
But when people come together, the result can be beautiful. Team up to improve your community.
And we need your signature here and here.
Here?
Yeah, and again here. Congratulations. And your first home.
Every year, millions of people who dream of owning a home find their dreams can come true.
Thank you.
Call the Fannie Mae Foundation for a free guide to help put you on the path to home ownership and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
The NBA on TNT, brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. And by the Fannie Mae Foundation, showing America a new way home.
It's close in the East, but in the West, the Los Angeles Lakers have been the dominant team. Commanding lead, #1 seed. Tonight they'll take on the Phoenix Suns. Scott Skiles, they're working on his contract there, but if he can coach Penny Hardaway to health more than anything else, it should be okay, because Jason Kidd is out, maybe for the season with the bad leg. Tom Gugliotta blew a knee. They missed Sean Marion early in the season. They changed coaches 13 games into the year. Yet Scott Skiles has kept that team not only above water, John, with the injuries and the change, but swimming to land as Carter launches and is fouled by Grant Hill.
This is number 33, Grant Hill.
Well, and don't be surprised. Remember, we heard from the words of wisdom when Danny Ainge was with him. Don't be surprised if Jason Kidd comes back.
Kidd told Ainge he'd be back maybe in the first round.
Hey, you know, and if anybody you believe can do that, it would be Jason Kidd. But I love the way Penny Hardaway has stepped up and taken that burden on himself. You know, and that's the kind of player that you expected him to be and that you knew he could be.
Carter with some free throws. The Detroit Pistons for the game are shooting 50% and lead it 67-58.
The Raptors have to play some defense. Anytime a team is getting this many layups off of cuts and penetration and post up, you got to do some trapping, and you've got to stop this kind of penetration.
Nice move from Hunter. Flips it out to Christian Linkner, who's a great passer, but opts to shoot there. Rebound by Carter. The Raptors shooting 37%. Christie for 3. Rebound by Oakley. Fresh 24.
Well, you know, they're not getting inside. And you know, I've said it 100 times. It's either the defense of Detroit or either they're not attempting to penetrate. But by standing, you've got a lot of weak side help and a lot of Detroit players. If you look at this picture, a lot of Detroit players are just standing there watching.
Christie hits his first shot tonight. He was 0 of 6 until that make right there. And he pounds in a 3, and Lincoln at the other end answers with a 2. It's 69-61. Pistons lead by 8. They've led by 9. Early on, Toronto led by 10 points.
Well, and Toronto's still in this game. I don't think they've played, that well, but in the same token, they're in this game. If they get going, they'll be in great shape.
Davis triple team, handcuffed. Oakley back to Davis from Carter. Right through his hands, ricochets out of bounds. Raptors have turned it over 12 times to the 6 turnovers of the Detroit Pistons tonight.
Well, and they seem to have a little haze over them. They've just got to break loose, get loose. A lot of foolishness got to go on. You got to just have some fun and get on out there and get over this. This Raptor team is much better than it's playing, I think.
Couple substitutions now. Mikey Moore is in for Detroit. Stackhouse is in there still, as is Hunter. The shot outside. Jerome Williams comes in. Stackhouse knocks it in, and he is recorded the biggest lead tonight for the Detroit Pistons. 18 points for Stackhouse. 71-61. Both teams now have led by as many as 10. Christie's been slow. The ankle causing him problems. Charles Oakley. 36-year-old Charles Oakley could have gone to the Lakers. He could have gone back to the Knicks, but opted to stay here with the Toronto Raptors. He has 4 points and has collected 10 rebounds tonight. And does he provide still, John, the leadership that so many people suspect he does for Toronto?
Well, I think he definitely does. But at some point, it's very difficult because things are going bad, and they've just got to get over this, and they'll be fine.
And the nucleus is young. Timeout.
Kevin just wants to be a great lawyer. His boss just wants his soul. Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino, the Devil's Advocate. Saturday night at 8 on TNT.
This is the year. This is the year I said. The new Ultimate account from Sovereign. Not just a great rate on your money market and checking account, but free round-trip airfare to Hawaii. This is the year for success.
Keep your car running right at Car Parts Auto Stores. We stock thousands of common replacement parts and can get most hard-to-find parts within 24 hours. Want to modify your car? The Special Effects Department at our new White House store has everything you need. Engine mods, suspension mods, wheel packages, trim accessories, and much, much more. And our White House facility features installation by SAE certified mechanics. Car Parts and Car Parts FX, featuring a full line of Pennzoil products.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta, the Orlando Magic trying to win their 7th straight and their 11th straight at home. And they're taking on the San Antonio Spurs tonight. And Ben Wallace with the big stick. They were up by 8 going to the 4th. And now 3 minutes to go in that game, and they're up 93-85 over the San Antonio Spurs. Orlando right now the number 8 team in the East by a couple of games on the loss side over Milwaukee. And they're all over Chicago in the 3rd period, 75-46. New Jersey all but over for the Nets as they lose 102-93 to the Washington Wizards. Kev.
Thank you, Ernie. Hitting the stride at the right time, the Orlando Magic. And Darrell Armstrong, John, you and I have talked about him. Truly the emotional leader of the Magic.
Well, and that team deserves all the credit it's got. And who would have expected them to be in a position that they're in right now? Doc's done a tremendous job with that team and been consistently doing it.
I was talking to Chris Carter today, the Viking wide receiver. You wouldn't see that in the NFL. A Stackhouse will launch a 3 and miss. And here comes Toronto. You would never see that in the NFL where a player or a guy with no coaching experience shoved right into a head coaching role. But in the NBA, they do it, and they do it well. And Doc is a great case in point. Larry Bird at Indiana.
Well, I think Doc did a lot of work, during the summer and stayed very close to the game, too, which helped him with that.
That was a pretty move by Vince Carter. Maybe the thing to get him on track. He's been a little quiet. 19 points. Is averaging just under 27 a game. The number 4 scorer in the NBA. Into Bowes, and not much defense by Muggsy.
Well, this guy can really shoot. I mean, he just took one dribble and jumped over top of Muggsy rather than penetrating. It was great judgment on Hunter's part because he couldn't penetrate against a smaller Muggsy, but he was able to jump over him.
Here's Oakley outside, back to Bowes, swings it over to McGrady, who's had a nice night, covered by Michael Curry, known for his defense. Here's Carter with a spinner. Nice defense by Stackhouse.
But it's a fadeaway spinner, and he needs to go to the basket.
Stackhouse couldn't save it. And it goes back to Toronto, and turnover number 7 for the Pistons.
Well, and looking at it, the defense is there. He goes to the basket on that shot, which, you know, he has the strength to do that, and I think that that's good. You know, I mean, he catches the ball, he goes in very strong, and he puts a lot of pressure on the Detroit defense.
Carter had 10 in the first quarter, John, but only 9 since then, and he had a technical foul in there as well.
Well, I think McGrady, they've been going to McGrady an awful lot. You know, and as you said, you know, he's been doing very productive for the team in the last 6 or 7, 8 games.
Under 3 to play here in the third. Trying his way inside, Bowes. Jitterbugs for the shot. Rebound by Curry. Here's a 2-on-2. Hunter streaking into Del Curry. Outside for Stackhouse, and 3 right between the eyes.
Well, Hunter set that shot up by penetrating. He pulled the defense inside, and then he pitched it outside to Stackhouse, who had just spotted up.
Stack with 21. And here's McGrady at the other end. Rebound by Hunter. Here comes Detroit running again, running far more. George Irvin, and a nice pass inside to Williams, who is in a straitjacket and hands a foul to the Raptors.
Well, and you look at it, off of their defense, they're pushing the ball. They're not holding it up. George Gervin said to us that he wanted to run on everything, made baskets and missed baskets. He pulls the defense and then pitches it out to Stackhouse, and Stackhouse gets an easy basket. Kevin, if you remember in talking to Butch Carter, one of the things that he said he feared is a penetrating team. He said he thought his team was defensively good as long as a team was not penetrating on him, and that's exactly what Detroit just did.
Mikey Moore with the slam. Detroit, John, is led by between 6 points, and now their big lead of 78-65 the entire time. A 13-point lead right now. And having lost 3 consecutive games, Toronto needs a win.
Well, and looking at this, Jerome sets this up by penetrating. He didn't force the shot. He dumped the shot off to Moore, and Moore got an easy basket.
Timeout.
Heard about George? The software guy? The guy with the backhand? Yeah. Bought Citral Friday morning. Friday morning? How do you do that? Same way we did.
Yeah, but George isn't a trader. Hey, George.
Georgie. Hiya. I hate that guy.
Daytech Online. The rules are changing.
Can you make color copies, collate, bind? I got a big meeting in less than an hour.
No problem.
Wow, now I'm ahead of schedule. You busy? In conclusion, sales are up 24% compared to last year.
Everybody can use a little help when they're out on the road. And that's where Mailboxes, etc. comes in.
Very impressive.
We get it done, and we get it done right.
Reduce the resistance, and you reduce the drag. That's the breakthrough idea behind Gillette Mach 3. Less drag means less irritation. Only Mach 3 has DLC Comfort Edge blades, streamlined for less resistance. Mach 3 glides through your beard with less drag and pull for far less irritation. For the closest shave, in fewer strokes, with less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette.
Toronto trailing Detroit 78-65. Professional basketball in Toronto goes back to the Basketball Association of America, the predecessor to the NBA. And the first game was played at the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens. Nearly 50 years later, pro basketball came back. The expansion team the Toronto Raptors. And that opening game was more exciting than the tip. The first basket scored by Alvin Robertson before a sellout crowd of 33,000. They won that game 94-79. They won 21 games that year. Now they are attempting to become only the third team in all of NBA history to go from winning less than 20 games 2 years ago to making the playoffs. And they're well on their way, but they're trailing now. Kevin, Coach?
Thank you, Craig. That was a good-looking 3-on-2 break back in 1946, wasn't it?
No comment.
Del Curry's been a sharpshooter for the Raptors all night. He's back in the game, out there looking for Vince Carter, McGrady, Bogues, and Kevin Willis in the game. Shot clock at 4. It's McGrady tangling with Williams inside, floating one up. It's tapped and picked up by Curry out there at Moore, Crotty, Grant Hill, Williams, and here comes Grant Hill. Detroit has made 8 of their last 11 shots in this game. Jerome Williams, the hesitation in the drive, and again, he gets the foul.
No basket. Foul called on Toronto's number 42.
Foul called on Kevin Willis. 3 fouls on him. Basket will not count, much to the chagrin of Jerome.
I think Jerome's a little upset about that.
He can't figure that out. He said, wait a minute.
Jerome said, with Grant Hill and Stackhouse on the team, I don't get a chance to shoot that much. When I shoot, I want the basket. Boy, was he upset.
Oh, man. Detroit suddenly become a fun team to watch.
Well, they have, and it's a question of experience. I mean, you look at this, Grant picks his spots. I mean, he drives about 6 or 7 times, then shoots a little push shot. You know, once McGrady and Carter get the kind of experience that those 2 guys have on the Detroit team, they'll be very similar to that.
Biggest lead for the Pistons tonight, about a minute to play in the third. No-look pass, Carter to Curry for 3, and Curry continues to shoot outstanding from the field. 6 of 7, 12 points so far.
Well, that's the guy that should be taking those shots out there like that. He and Oakley, because Oakley basically shoots a set shot, and Curry is a specialist at being able to hit those shots quickly.
Nice ball rotation. Crotty to Curry. And the rebound fought for. A 9-2 run right now for the Detroit Pistons.
You know, right now, looking at the Raptors, they look a little frustrated. I think they have to jump a psychological hurdle. You know and I know that this team is much better. Butch Carter indicated the fact that, you know, that these guys just have to get themselves going. And you need a little bit of luck, too, when that is going on with your team. The meetings and all those things are fine, but you've got to get out here and win a ball game.
Yeah, coming into this game, a lot of rumors of discord and tension inside the Toronto locker room, because they have been losing. Mikey Moore shuffling inside. Fight for it. Dug out by Curry. The other way he goes, and fouled and shooting. Del Curry knocks it in. He thought he was fouled on the play. He just kept going, and because of that, it worked out, and he hits the shot. Seconds to play in the third.
Look who's handling the ball now, Kevin.
Yeah. It's like this at the end of every game.
Does everything to sweep the floor. And he might even do that.
At crucial times, it always goes into the hands of Grant Hill. But Del Curry, who led the NBA in three-point shooting last year for Milwaukee, has been spectacular. Because of him, the Toronto Raptors end the quarter on a 5-0 run, all authored by Curry. And so the Raptors are still breathing, although down by 10 at the end of 3.
Hello? Yeah, where are you? No. Excuse me, I'm working. It's the opera and I'm gonna catch a red eye tonight, yeah. That's right. What?
Stay in touch without disturbing anyone with two-way paging and email from SkyTel, the first name in advanced messaging.
Where will I be when they knock on my door? Where will I be when the aces are four? Where will I be when fate asks for a dance?
One day, you'll find a place where you know you belong. Will you be ready? Understanding your credit is the first step toward owning a home. Call for the new free guide on credit from the Fannie Mae Foundation and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
When you've got an extreme thirst, you know there's only one thing to reach for. A can of Splode. With 100 times the carbonation of ordinary soft drinks, Splode is intense. So if you think you can handle the pressure, grab a Splode and obliterate your thirst.
Buenos nachos.
Gordy, I didn't know you spoke Spanish. Are you fluent?
No. I feel fine.
Meet Gordy and Sean.
People always said I'll never amount to anything. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Now, two dreamers are headed for the big time. Face first.
Sing it! You chicks rock!
Ready to rumble. Rated PG-13. Starts this Friday at a theater near you.
So, book it off the bus, pick out the car they want, be on their way in seconds.
We'll call it Fast Break. Our fastest way to rent a car.
Can we get people from the airport to their car quicker? We can if we give everyone jet propulsion packs.
Crack open the bleeder valve and fill the tank to 800 psi.
I like the Fast Break idea.
That's a great idea. I like that one. Okay, let's go with that one. Wow.
Welcome back to a rainy and windy night here in Toronto, Ontario. This is the NBA on TNT. We're in the capacity-filled Air Canada Center. Here's tonight's budget rent-a-car fast break. The Pistons have dominated tonight in the paint, 38-18. And Toronto has been outscored, John, now in the paint in 11 of their last 13 games.
Well, and particularly it's significant here at home because in your own home, you want to run to get the crowd involved in it. You want to also penetrate to get the crowd involved, and that's how become scored against. I mean, it's just a question of shooting those jump shots outside the way they've been doing, Kevin.
Trying to go inside, and a whistle. Well, for the 12th consecutive game, Toronto does not take a lead going into the fourth quarter. And that is usually spelled doom for this team, which is riding a 3-game losing streak, having lost 7 of their last 8. And with the playoffs quickly approaching, they are heading in the wrong direction.
Well, terribly the wrong direction. Even if they made the playoffs, psychologically, they're not in the right frame of mind to go into playoff kind of competition.
After a 3-second violation at the other end, a foul is called on the Pistons' Jerome Williams. That is number 2 on Jerome.
Well, and when the Raptors do penetrate, Kevin, what is so interesting is that most of their layups are finesse kind of layups rather than power layups where you have a tendency to draw fouls off of.
Here's Christie, who is staggered from the field tonight. A screen by Carter, back into Carter, lunging to the rack, and a whistle on a foul. Some more of that, and Toronto may not find themselves in this kind of disrepair. The foul called on Mikey Moore.
Well, you're going to get fouled if you go to the basket. You know, in their first 3 meetings, Antonio Davis had 8 free throws attempt. Tonight, he's had none. Vince Carter had 11. Tonight, he's had 6. Tracy McGrady, had 4. Now he's had 1. So, now you're looking at a situation that's totally different.
You see a couple of kids leading the team, McGrady and Curry, or Carter, rather. John, what does it mean for a team whose nucleus is young and effective, and the veterans are talking about veteran leadership, and maybe when they need it the most, it's not having the kind of roar that it should.
Well, a lot of the leadership in basketball comes with the people who are scoring, and when you have the younger guys doing most of the scoring, you need some maturity there. You need one guy there with some maturity that knows how to pick his shots. You may statistically have a lot of points, but they may not be the right kind of points to help you to win a ball game or at the right time.
Lane violation, offered another free throw for Carter. Here comes Hill. Crowdy is at the point. Williams in there with Moore and Curry. John Crowdy, who backed up Gary Payton last year in Seattle. Off to Jerome Williams. And the reverse with some English on a loco. Offensive rebound. Moore off balance, and down it go.
Well, and they're putting so much pressure on the Raptor defense by going to the basket, and that's the one thing that Butch Carter told us that they were not good at is defending penetration.
Pistons are shooting 52% from the field to Toronto's 39% from the floor tonight.
Well, and interestingly enough, Kevin, there's not a lot of set plays being run. They either stand around throwing in the post or they're getting transition baskets. In this whole game, you haven't seen a lot of half-court sets run.
Toronto's a light team, John, in terms of weight and height. In the NBA, they're 28th, so near the bottom. They're not big and they're not bulky.
Well, then you better play some quick defense. You got to rebound and get out of that. You can't push what you can't catch. You can't be light and slow.
Curry the miss. Rebound by Grant Hill. Grant Hill has 6 rebounds tonight. With his great night shooting. A lot of it came in the second quarter, exploding for 16. Doubled his Curry. Crotty maneuvering over the 5-3 Bogues with a miss. Rebound through the hands of Willis. Saved by Carter. Backs it off to Curry. Alley-oop for Willis, and no one were there except the defensive Grant Hill. And then it's Williams the other way. Galloping to the other end. And a foul and frustration setting in for Toronto.
Well, that's a perfect example. You come down this end, and Curry throws Willis an alley-oop that they get no foul. Jerome gets the ball, penetrates him, and drives to the basket and gets a foul.
Welcome to the Foot Locker House of Hoops. Today we're going to install a fire prevention system. Hey, Alan, how's it coming?
All fire systems go, Norm.
Well, let's give it a test, shall we?
Cool.
Boy, Alan sure is hot. Just like this Nike Air Diversity Up Tempo, which you can only get at Foot Locker. Well, that's all for the House of Hoops.
The roof is on fire!
Do you love TV? Then you need The Cable Guide, the monthly programming magazine customized to the channels on your TV. With easy-to-read 24-hour programming information, complete movie coverage, and exclusive features on TV's hottest stars and shows, you'll find everything you need in this exclusive guide to TV. So call your local cable company to subscribe to The Cable Guide today and get the guide you need if you love TV.
Does your bank's low money market rate throw you for a loop? Unity's Top Banana Money Market Checking will make you feel like a top banana. Unity pays Prime less 3%. You get unlimited check writing and an introductory rate of 6.05% for the first 3 months. Very appealing, don't you think? Unity, if we were you, we'd bank with us.
I think the keys for tonight with Kobe being out is just to really pressure Shaq. With Kobe in there, he really complements Shaq's game, and you really can't double as much. But tonight, we're going to have to make Brian Shaw, Derek Fisher, Ron Harper, and those guys beat us from the outside and really just try to double-team Shaq.
Well, San Antonio is going to lose in Orlando. Phoenix could pick up a full game on the 5th-seeded Spurs should they beat the Lakers tonight. A tall order. But nonetheless, that's what's in front of them. Put some distance between the Suns and the Spurs with a Phoenix win tonight. But again, you continue to be marveling at the job of Orlando. A bunch of cast-offs and wannabes put together by Doc Rivers with the 32 different players and 27 separate transactions. A great deal of movement by John Gabriel, the GM in Orlando, and head coach Doc Rivers. You saw Vince Carter on the bench. Here's Jerome Williams. He's feisty. How is that feisty for you in Washington, D.C., Georgetown?
He's always worked hard. You know, Jerome is the kind of guy that will come out there and give you in practice and in the game everything he has. And he's a high-energy guy and a high-spirited person.
Detroit has taken 28 free throws, Toronto 11. Butch Carter thought they had to have at least 25 or 30 attempts tonight to be in the game with the Pistons.
Well, you have to do some penetrating. I think even Detroit is playing exceptional defense, so their shot selection of the Raptors are not the kind of things that lend you to getting fouled.
Charlotte has won tonight, so that's interesting as it tightens up the divisional race and the Eastern Conference race. So a lot of games going on right now, and Toronto continues to fall while these other teams continue to thrive. Christie knocked it away.
Well, he knocked it away, but it's interesting when it comes down to a time and score situation. Grant Hill is the guy that has the ball for Detroit. He either makes the basket or makes the play.
Toronto has been no closer than 6 points this half. Grant Hill, great touch from outside.
When you ask about Detroit, who's playing the point guard, you've got to say in what quarter. Because in the fourth quarter, Grant Hill is playing it.
And he doesn't want to play the point. Doesn't like playing the point.
But I tell you, whether he likes it or not, he certainly does do a good job.
McGrady inside.
I'd like to see him do a lot more of that, Kevin. A lot more of going to the basket.
Under 9 to play now here in the fourth quarter. 22 for McGrady. Only 4, however, this half. There's a foul. That goes on Grant Hill, who's got 29 points and 4 fouls.
I really didn't see that foul. That was an interesting call. But I tell you, Detroit is doing a great job of defending the post also, because most of the time when Toronto gets the ball, they fade from outside, from the inside.
Well, Christie hits a rare shot tonight. Friday the other way. Christie is 2 of 8. Hill picked up by the aforementioned Christie. Flies into him. And a foul as Christie, I think, got a bloody nose on that defensive stop. Or attempted stop. And he's got 2 fouls.
Every time Hill gets the ball, he either gets the basket, he gets the foul, or he makes the play for somebody else to get a basket.
Ronnie will leave, and they'll bring in Lindsey Hunter. 2-time West Coast Conference Player of the Year at Pepperdine.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who handles the ball now for them, because Hill has been handling it. And Hunter has been doing a better job, according to George Irvin.
With his defense. Leitner tapped it, but right back to McGrady. 9-point game. Big shot by Christie. Pistons take a timeout. Doug Christie's hit 2 in a row. The Raptors are on a 7-0 run. And the Detroit lead, one time, at 13 points, is down to 6. This is the NBA on TNT.
Hey, grab me a Bud Light. Oh, no. Would you look at that? There's only one left. Really? Sorry, buddy. What are you doing? Y'all done? Oh, yeah.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
I've got an idea.
Make it a Bud Light.
The new Sonata from Hyundai with the freedom of America's best warranty.
Okay, people, we got work to do. It's time to boogie. 5, 7, 6, 8. We take our job as NBA dance consultants very seriously. I need more. Like this. You have to feel the music. River dance. I used to be able to do this. Nice. I like it. Woo! Get it up now, get it up!
Are you guys sure about this?
Absolutely.
A madman, a visionary, and a knight sworn to defeat impossible foes.
Stand your ground and fight!
Test your courage with John Lithgow in Don Quixote. World premiere Sunday at 8 on TNT.
These guys have also worked hard. And of course, they're not all the guys who come in night out, who are unsung heroes, don't get attention for the things they've done and they are doing or have accomplished. But every day I think they deserve something. And, definitely appreciative. Yeah, I get the attention, but these guys have really been the backbone and helped me grow and progress.
Stackhouse with the miss. Out of bounds off Detroit. Yeah, it's one of the other guys for Toronto. In this case, Doug Christie's hit his last 3 shots.
I think it's got to be other guys, but I don't tend to like that. It's not just me speech. You know, I think when you've got the ability, you've got to do some things. You include other people.
Be selfish?
Well, and sometimes you don't have to be selfish. And selfishness is not bad. Deprivation is bad when you deprive other people. But he has talent, so you want him to do a lot of things.
Hill the miss. Here comes McGrady searching inside. Thrown away again. Another steal by Hunter. Here goes Hill, fouled by Bogues to the other end. Lindsey Hunter with 2 steals for the Pistons in the span of 10 seconds.
Well, and that's the way he started off the game. If you remember, he set the tempo for the game by making steals. I thought that Toronto got back in the ball game because of the fact that Detroit didn't continue the fast break. Hunter steals out and gives it off to Hill. Muggsy fouls him because he knows he's going into the basket.
And look at the steals, 10-1 in favor of the Pistons. Yeah, you've noticed a change of tempo in the Pistons have.
Well, I think the Pistons might have gotten a little too cautious and controlled it. Grant was controlling the tempo, trying to burn clock, taking his shot at the latter part of the shot clock. As a result of it, the Raptors, Kevin, got back in the ball game. Now they come out, they make a couple of steals, and they start to run a little bit. They've got to step the pace up and be cautious and not take bad shots.
7-point lead for the Detroit Pistons. 30 for Grant Hill, the 26th time this season he's had 30 points or more. Last year, just 8 times of 30 points or more. And that shooting coach has paid dividends. Like we said before, having the best year of his career. Bogues gets it off to Christie. He's hit 3 in a row until that miss right there. McGrady was going up, climbing the ladder, and fouled on the play by Stackhouse. Stackhouse picks up number 2. Here it's 86-79, the Pistons. Let's go to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta.
All right, thank you, Kevin. The Minnesota Timberwolves have struggled lately, losing 2 in a row. Good news for them, the Atlanta Hawks coming to town. But the bad news, Terrell Brandon can't play tonight. He's got the flu. Game tied at 73, 3 ticks to go. Bonus coverage with Bob Rathman and Mike Glenn.
He may overplay the ball right here and step out so they can see the lineup and see what's happening. So they have a delay of game as well as a foul to give. Let's see if Coach Wilkins plays it that way. No, they're going to play it straight out. Still have a foul to give, however.
Serbiak to get it in, calls time. At 1 full left at his disposal, and the rookie from Miami of Ohio uses it here with 3.6 seconds left. The NBA's leading shooting team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, have struggled mightily tonight, shooting 35% for the evening. Kevin McHale has died 1,000 deaths over there in his seat here at the Target Center. Minnesota trying to close in on the 4th spot in the West and lock up home court for the first round. Lost a heartbreaker here to Phoenix 2 days ago, and they trailed the Suns by 4 losses in that all-important loss column, and they've got 6 of their final 8 on the road.
Take a look at this inbound play.
Well, these things happen from time to time. We'll keep you up to speed on that game as they're in a timeout tied at 73. Let's get back to Kevin Harlan and John Thompson, guys.
Tracy McGrady just hit 2 free throws. He has 24 points and 10 rebounds tonight. Pistons do not have any more fouls to give. 6.5 to play here in the 4th. This is the closest it's been since the first half. Off of Antonio Davis.
Well, Antonio Davis made a great play because Grant Hill has been penetrating, pulling the defense. If he didn't score, he'd find somebody. Davis blocked the pass that time.
10 seconds to shoot. Hill to Stackhouse. Maneuvering on Carter. Outside, Jerome Williams has played well. Rebound is cradled by Carter.
Well, Jerome is not the guy that you want to take that shot from the corner. He had to take it because of the shot clock. It's more Stackhouse for throwing it to him rather than not going back to Hill.
Here's McGrady finding Carter off balance. Can't get it. He is staggered in the second half for the Raptors tonight.
Well, that's not the kind of shot you want to take. You don't want to be falling out of bounds, shooting the ball at this point.
Oh, Stackhouse out of bounds. He stepped, wipe it away. That will take you out of your chair. That was a spectacular dunk.
Only thing you have to stay on the court.
Yeah, stay in the court.
The defense is the only part of the game that's allowed to go to the concession stand, Kevin.
That's right. I like it. Detroit shooting 46%. Toronto shooting 38% tonight. Here's Bogues. Christie has been hot as on the bench. McGrady, Bogues, Carter, Willis, and Antonio Davis. Shot clock at 2, and they got it in Willis's hands. That's not what they wanted.
Well, it's a typical kind of shot. Even though the ball was in the post, Detroit's defense is forcing a fadeaway shot. Even they post up, people are not going to the basket.
Pistons with Mikey Moore, Williams, Hunter, Stackhouse, and Hill. A lot of energy-type players on the floor right now for the Detroit Pistons who try to counter the 9-1 run by Toronto.
Well, and good defenders are in the game, as you indicated.
Atlanta, Minnesota has gone to overtime. If anything develops in OT, we'll take you immediately there. And a timeout taken by the Toronto Raptors.
Well, and I see Del Curry's coming back in the game. If they're going to take the kind of shots they've been taking, the Raptors might as well put the best shooter on the court in the game.
The Raptors, after winning 11 of 12, have lost 7 of 8. And we've talked a lot of times tonight about the reported problems in the locker room and how it's been addressed. A couple of days ago, Tracy McGrady, John, said, our ship is sinking and sinking fast.
Well, and that's another example. You're talking about meetings and talking too much. There's not a team in the league that doesn't have problems in the locker room or off the court. You got to deal with those things. It's how you manage those things that makes you a successful team.
Also, don't you think it's different when you become the hunted instead of you hunting, like has been the case for the Raptors before this year?
Well, absolutely, Kevin. These guys aren't taking people by surprise anymore. With all the publicity that Carter has received and all the attention that they've received, people are coming now looking for them. They're not going to take anybody by surprise. And they've got to stop this talk and cut this meeting out and go ahead on and just play basketball.
Contrast, Detroit has been playing great. They've won 5 of their last 6 on the road. Here comes Toronto with under 5 to play here in the 4th.
But you also, Kevin, have the most inexperienced player, McGrady, out handling the ball as opposed to Hill down the other end for Detroit.
Lost right there, picked up by Jerome Williams. Again, show us that dribbling that has been so outstanding tonight. 16 Toronto turnovers. Here's Stackhouse over Curry. Rebound through the hands of Carter. Falls over Williams, and a loose ball foul assessed on Jerome Williams. Showing his frustration.
Well, I couldn't tell whether he's frustrated or hurt in that. I think he made a great effort in going after the loose ball.
4 fouls, walk to the other end. Detroit, 10 more steals than the Raptors. Quiet night for Vince Carter at the free throw. And I say quiet, as Detroit has missed their last 6 field goals. He has a 6 of 8 night going from the field.
Well, that's part of the problem. The Raptors have had a quiet night all night from the free throw line, Kevin. You know, with the athleticism that they have, if these guys start going to the basket, even when they're posting up, they're fading to the corner. And particularly on your home court, the crowd participating in the game has an effect on how the game is going to be called. And if you're running, you go in and penetrate, you get the crowd involved as opposed to just shooting up long shots and fading on your post-ups.
Carter 7 of 10 from the free throw line. 4-point game. Pistons on top, 4.5 to play. Stackhouse to Moore, defended by Davis. Shot clock at 4. Moore again. Second time in the second half he's had that same shot.
Well, you know, they're really getting the ball inside, but that was the first time I saw the Raptors try to trap. I thought they should have trapped a little bit more early in the game, particularly with Detroit's penetration being the way it was.
Curry throws it away, aiming for McGrady. It's another turnover, and the 17th for the Raptors.
Yeah, but you're talking about the inexperience again. I mean, you've got guys handling the ball that are young, as opposed to this gentleman that has the ball right now for the Pistons.
Pistons have scored just 3 points in the last 5 minutes. Moore again, shoved and hits it nonetheless with the hook.
Well, and look at the difference between Moore once he gets the ball in the post. He's getting a point-blank layup as opposed to the Raptors when they got the ball in the post. They were fading to the corner.
Mikey Moore off the bench. 10 points and 6 rebounds. The CBA refugee starring tonight. Second half for the Pistons.
No down payment. Low financing on Honda Valkyries and Goldwings. Low payments on Valkyrie, Shadows, and Magnas with the Honda card. It's the road to savings. Incredible deals on some incredible Hondas. So hurry to your Honda dealer during the road to savings.
Welcome to the Foot Locker House of Hoops. Today we're going to install a fire prevention system. Hey, Alan, how's it coming?
All fire systems go, Nora.
Well, let's give it a test, shall we?
Cool.
Boy, Alan sure is hot. Just like this Nike Air Diversity Up Tempo, which you can only get at Foot Locker. Well, that's all for the House of Hoops.
The roof is on fire!
A little stress? Bet us online investors aren't helping your blood pressure.
Online? I'm on Wall Street, a professional.
My online broker lets me see stock quotes the same way they see them at the exchange.
You do not see them continuously, not as the market's moving.
Actually, I do. Say ah.
Ah.
That's why Daytech calls it Streamer.
Streamer?
Daytech Online. The rules are changing.
Coming up from America West Arena in Phoenix, Shaquille O'Neal and the Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Phoenix Suns, a meeting of two of the hottest teams in the NBA. The Lakers have won 28 out of the last 29. I'm Marv Albert. Mike Fratello will be joining me along with Shara Miller. We'll have it all for you in just a couple of minutes.
One of the interesting stories, John, about the Los Angeles Lakers, last week Rick Fox began to emerge as a scorer, and that's just another dimension to the Los Angeles attack.
Is anything else coming with them? I mean, they're really playing well, and yeah, Shaquille is just playing as well as you could even ask a player to play at both ends of the court. You know, now other guys are starting to get better. That was the thing that I said about McGrady, that you want to see him play well. That's not a reflection on Carter not playing well. You want this team, if it's going to be in the playoffs, to develop people to play. You got a guy like Del Curry in this game who's stepping up. You're going to need all of these people in the playoffs.
Toronto has gotten within 6 points 5 separate times this half, and within 4 points once, but no closer than that. Detroit shooting 48%. Toronto shooting 38% from the field. McGrady into Carter, driving, shoved, and a whistle with a foul.
Not as pretty.
On Moore with his third.
Not as pretty, Kevin, but I like that shot. Yeah. You're going towards the basket. You're creating a foul. You're stopping the clock. You're doing a lot of things that are positive. You're getting somebody in foul trouble. You do that much earlier, it's a different kind of ball game.
Vince Carter, an 80% free throw shooter. That's the first 7-point game.
Kevin, I don't like that it's not just me speech from him. I just think you've got to get out there. You can't make everybody even to you. He's got a lot of talent. He can pass the ball when he doesn't have shots, but they need him to step up into play. You know, he seems to be conscious of the attention that he's getting. He needs to just go ahead and play the game and let it take care of itself.
24 for Carter. 9 of 12 from the free throw line. McGrady is on Hill, and they isolate. And he pitches it outside. Stackhouse for 3. Oh, that could be the dagger.
Well, that's the difference. At one end, you have McGrady handling the ball a lot, who's probably the most inexperienced player on the team. At the other end, you have Hill handling the ball. If Hill doesn't get the shot, he makes good judgments because of experience, and he finds somebody else to get the ball, too.
Stackhouse with 24. Muggsy Bogues with the shot. Short, gathered in by Hill. Here's Stackhouse. Buckle up. Well, I thought it was Stackhouse who lost the ball and tried to feed to the trailing Moore. And they go the other way. McGrady on the alley-oop pass from Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy tonight with 5 assists off the bench. Grant Hill right down the middle. And Grant Hill tonight with 32 points for the Pistons.
Not bad for a man to start it off not scoring at all, is it?
To the final 10 seconds. of the first quarter.
Well, it's not how many you get, it's when you get them, Kevin, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing that's just so significant. And, you know, the experience of the Raptors, you know, one day these guys will be experienced. One day they will take better shots as opposed to just deep jumpers.
McGrady tries the three. Rebound hauled in by Williams. Out of Stackhouse, held by McGrady. 1:33 to play. Pistons on top by 9. And a foul, number 3 on Tracy McGrady. Butch Carter's got his hands full going into the final 8 games. John Thompson of the season. Right now the Buzzards circling overhead. They may lose their 8th game in their last 9 tonight. 4th in a row. And 4th in a row at home.
Well, and I think he knows that he has his hands full, as he told us. It's just a question of overcoming this psychological hurdle.